Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. We have a fun video for you today. We're going to be doing the Crack a Commander Challenge Zendikar Rising Edition. Now what this means is we're going to be cracking this set booster box of Zendikar Rising until we hit a legendary creature. Then we're going to build the base of a commander deck from that creature. Now there's a ton of fun commanders from the new set. There's also the possibility of evoking some from the list in this box. So we could be getting some old Bushido-y or some big dumb dragon. Either way, it should be a ton of fun, so let's get into it. Ooh, first of all though, we have our Expedition box topper. Yes, attention. Don't bend this too much. Ooh, sweet, we have a Ancient Tomb. Sweet, very cool. Glad these are a thing now. Okay, pack one. Right, so first legendary hit, we will make a commander deck from. Pack 2. Pack 3. Pack 4. Pack 5. Pack 6. Well, not many legendaries in this box. Right, pack 7, I want to say. And we have our legendary, Zareth Sun the Trickster. 3 blue-black for a legendary creature, Merfolk Rogue. Flash. 2 blue-black, return an unblocked attacking rogue you control to its owner's hand. Put Zareth Sun the Trickster from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. When Zareth Sun deals combat damage to a player, you may put target permanent card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Right, so Zareth is our commander. Let's get into building this. So there's a ton of fun ways you could take this commander. You could definitely do the rogue tribal thing. You could really focus on trying to get this into your hand to do the ninjutsu-y type thing. You could run things like Command Beacon or Netherborn Altar to help put this into your hand so you can actually use the top effect. What I want to focus on though is the bottom effect, because I think that's where this card really comes into its own and that's what's really powerful. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through how I would build this as a commander. This is not going to be an extensive deck take. I'm not going to tell you every card that goes in this, because obviously everyone's budget and everyone's style of play is different. The plan here is to give you a list of different types of cards that can go in the deck to make something really fun. Some cards will be more expensive than others, some cards will be nice and cheap. Pick the ones that work for you and work for your budget. So let's jump into a breakdown of how I would build this deck. Going back to our second ability here, we have a package of cards to consider to get our commander damage through to make it unblockable. We have things like Whisper Silk Cloak, Prowler's Helm, Trailblazer's Bloots, and Hot Soup. Good name for a card. We also have things like Key to the City, Jethuri Embrace, and Rogue's Passage. The equipment part of that you're running because you want to make the commander unblockable. The other ones have a bit more play to them, which are quite fun. Key to the City is fun because we can put one of our own reanimating targets into the graveyard. Jethuri Embrace gives something Shadow, which means it can only be blocked by a creature with Shadow, and can only block a creature with Shadow. This also doesn't have to be your creature, so you can have fun with your opponents when someone swings at someone else. In terms of card draw, I consider things like Windfall and Jace's Archivist. In this kind of deck, not only is it a draw 7 for yourself, but you're dumping so many cards into your opponent's graveyards that it's more like a draw 30 or something stupid like that because of all the cards that they're going to be dumping into the graveyard as well. If you want to be horrible, you can consider running the new Narset and Notion Thief, so they still dump the cards in the graveyard, only you get new cards, but definitely be prepared for your playgroup not to like you after you do that. Some more card draw we're running is Visions of Beyond. One of our opponents is going to end up with 20 cards in the graveyard, so you might as well pay 1 mana to draw 3 cards. You could consider Thought Scour, or Folio of Fancies, which does card draw and milling. In that same vein, Patient Rebuilding mills an opponent and also draws us some cards. And also, because we're in blue and black, you should consider running Rhystic Study and Phyrexian Arena. They don't synergize with the deck, but they're just really good and really efficient. It's why they've gone up in price. Hopefully they'll get some reprint soon. But if you have them, stick them in the deck. They will do their job. For the ramp package, because we're not in green, we're not really running anything exciting or anything special. Sticking to the generic Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, the Dimir coloured Talisman. The diamonds are pretty good in this deck. Wayfarer's Bauble. As long as you're running 8 bits of mana ramp that can preferably tap for colour, you should be golden. Now let's get on to some of the fun stuff, the mill stuff. So for creatures that mill, we're going to be looking at Hedron Crab. Going to be looking at Duskmantle Guildmage. That first ability can be a win condition in a deck like this. Going to be looking at Manic Scribe, Dreamborn Muse, Consuming Aberration, which everyone loves and can be a big dumb beater in itself. You could look at Mirko Vosk, Mind Drinker, and a slightly new one, Fleet Swallower, just to completely flip half of someone's deck over. We have some spells. We have Glimpse the Unthinkable, if that gets reprinted and comes down in price a bit. We have a cheaper Mind Funeral. We have Mind Grind. We have Whispering Madness, which works really well with our commander, especially if we get a way to make the commander unblockable. We have Extract from Darkness, which not only mills, but also gets us back a creature as well. And in the vein of Fleet Swallower, we have Traumatize. For some more permanent ways of milling, we have Fraying Sanity. Stick this on the person who you think is going to have the best stuff, and then take the best stuff. And then a mill all-star, Memory Erosion. This one can really get out of hand very quickly. For some artifacts, we have Altar of the Brood. And a favourite of mine, Mesmeric Orb. This is really good in self-milling decks, but it also just puts a ton of cards into people's graveyards because it includes lands. We then have Mindcrank. You should also consider Sword of Body in Mind. Buffs up the commander, lets you swing into the Simic player. You get a Wolf Friend, why not? But also importantly, it then mills them for 10 cards. There's a ton of other mill cards out there. You can check the mill section on EDH Rec for some more. These are the ones I picked out because I think these are the ones that work best with this type of deck. But with all that milling can come the danger of you coming up against a graveyard deck that when you mill them, you're like, ah, yes, thank you, this is perfect for me. So with that in mind, I'd recommend running a copy of Bajuka Bog, I'd recommend running a copy of Withered Wretch, and Perpetual Timepiece. The first two let you deal with your opponent's graveyards, let you keep them in check in case there's anything in there that you don't want, that you kind of flip over something and you're like, ah, that's not good for me. These help you deal with them. Perpetual Timepiece is great, I run it in every graveyard deck, because it not only helps you mill yourself, but also protects your graveyard. If someone comes and exiles your graveyard, you can respond and put the best cards that you need back into your deck. They won't be in your graveyard anymore, but they won't be gone forever, so it's really good. For some other good, thefty value creatures, we're going to be running my boy, the most luxurious Gonti. You could consider something like Kaiga, the Tidestar. 6 mana, big dumb dragon with flying, that when it dies, gain control of target creature. There's more recent cards like Hostage Taker and Thief of Sanity as well. As Zaros from Zendikar, you could consider something from the original set, Royal Elemental. Landfall, steal a creature, great. And then a card that I love, Thada Adel Acquisitor, which basically means Island Walk, steal someone's soul ring. There's also a ton of beaters we can play in this deck, some big dumb creatures which do some impressive things when they come down. Sir Conrad the Grim. Whenever anyone mills one of their creatures, they'll take a damage. You can run Gyruda, Doom of Depths, to get something back from the graveyard when it comes in. In the same vein as our commander, you can run Scarab God to steal stuff from people's graveyards. The two thick primordial lads, Sepulchral Primordial and Diluvian Primordial. I probably pronounced them wrong, but let's go with it. Get everyone's best creature, get everyone's best spell when they come in. These can be done. And then a card that works great with any removal or any board wipes, which is Grave Betrayal. It turns your Doomblade into cherry picking. I will have you. I would like you. It's really fun. For you, anyway. Moving on to board wipes and removal. Because you're in black and blue, you already have the world's oyster of interaction and removal and board wipes. So run what you have and run what you like. One specifically to look out for would be Life's Finale, because not only is it a board wipe, but it also lets you cherry pick someone's best creatures, put them into the graveyard so you can then steal them when you hit them with your commander. That seems great. Going back to the Haymaker video I did recently, consider Rise of the Dark Realms. With all this milling, you're just going to be taking so many creatures and putting them onto the battlefield under your control that it's going to be really hard for you to lose the game once you cast it. So a few more bits to get through before we get out of here. You could definitely run a Reanimator sub-theme in this, because obviously you're going to be milling yourself as well as your opponents. So playing cards that can target any graveyards, things like Beacon of Unrest, Reanimate itself, Animate Dead, are all really good because they're things that let you get stuff from graveyards, be it your opponent's or your own. To take the self-mill to a whole new level, you could run things like Thassa's Oracle, or the War of the Spark Jace, or Laboratory Maniac. You can combine this in Commander with things like Demonic Consultation, Doomsday, to do some really dumb broken stuff, if that's what you want to do. Totally cool. So there's probably a ton of cards I haven't mentioned that would go into this deck. There's probably a few rogues which would still make it in. Despite the fact we're not aiming to do the top ability, they're still going to be helpful. So thank you all very much for watching. I'm going to put my deck list in the description below, so by all means please check that out and let me know what you think. If there's any cards that I've missed, or if there's a different way of going this that I might not have seen, please let me know in the comments below, it really helps. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you all again very much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Goodbye.